Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Real Wisdom Artificial Intelligence. So, today is June 28th. It is a bright, beautiful, and sunny day here in Boston. And I'm bringing you this from my late afternoon walk here by the banks of Charles River. I had a busy day today. It is a Sunday. I had some meetings that took me to Fall River, Massachusetts earlier in the day today. Now I'm back home and bring you this from the banks of Charles River. As I've said earlier, I am heading to India tomorrow. So this is likely my last day bringing you the dose of Rashmi from the banks of Charles River in a while. We'll be in India all of July. So let's go ahead get started for today. Today's dose of Rashmi is an integrated intelligence organization stays intensely focused on being the means to enable aligned action towards the purpose that the team collectively cares for. So, this dose of Rashmi this morning, as I went through my normal morning practice, listened to Sadhguru's insight, and arrived at the dose of Rashmi, it was very interesting. Sadhguru talked about something in terms of how fluid, when you say constrict the nozzle of pipe that the fluid is flowing through, it starts flowing with more intensity. And that is exactly why we named Ventures Inc. When we started our business for consulting people on product and innovation and with the core mantra, the art of prioritization. The reason we came up with the name Ventures Inc. was precisely because of being inspired by the Ventures effect. That fluid, when it flows through a constricted section of pipe, actually increases in velocity. And our mantra was art of prioritization. And we always used to advocate for, and still do, for people to slow down to speed up. Slow down, get intensely focused on what is your why, what is the core purpose. So this is a very natural and logical continuation in a way, the pivot to the RASHMI.ai from my product thinking days and from the venturizing art of prioritization. Now, think with slowing down to speed up, as we would advocate for that in the current day and age, that would not necessarily sit well with a lot of people. And that reminds me of something else that I've talked about. Daniel Kahneman talked about the system one and system two. System one is the fast reactive system, and that's predominantly what we end up engaging when we are just reacting to external situations. And system two is the more slow, deliberate mode. And I have said in this series earlier that integrated intelligence is effectively engaging your system two across your thinking, your emotional and intuitive intelligence. And we are all capable of that. The thing with the system one is it is based on engaging our sensory organs, and our sensory perceptions are great, as is our intellect. They are amazing tools. However, these are tools to deal with the external world. So, by nature, when you have to survive in the external world, these are designed to be fast and reactive tools. And that is why it takes practice to engage system two when it comes to thinking, as Kahneman has well illustrated through his book. And the same thing applies to all modes of integrated intelligence. And this is something through the course of my career. I had always felt that in the midst of chaos, I had this ability to slow down and eventually look at the situation with clarity. And I was kind of almost, I ended up being thrown in as the hero in many of these situations where at the last minute, I wouldn't get faced by the pressure of deadlines. And even though I would slow down, I would always come through with flying colors. And I could do that. However, I also realized that made me the bottleneck in many cases because teaching others to slow down, to speed up was very hard, especially when it required processing all this information at the last minute. And I would put up many late nights at the last minute. Now, that is where AI comes in. AI is such a wonderful tool now at processing information that the art of slowing down to gain clarity becomes a transferable and teachable skill, in my opinion, because us humans can engage our system to the deliberate mode across logical, emotional, and intuitive intelligence. And then AI is at our fingertips as a very powerful memory based intelligence that can synthesize patterns across the vast knowledge database. That's where now clarity becomes a teachable skill. And that is why we have built the Rashmi mirror, as well as we are building enterprise mirror if you're in an organization, to learn how to operate in this mode. The tools are available, the choice to engage is yours. Thank you.